It's another beautiful day in my double slice of paradise. It's Wednesday, the 22nd day of May, and we're broadcasting from the Sun Complex. We are in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. We're settling for another presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of this program. First, we'll give kudos to our sponsors and come back and introduce our very special guest today. We're in for a treat, so log on, as we would say, no going away. See you on the other side.
Looking for something extra? Look no further. Suppligent's got you covered with our Suppligent Shop and Win promotion. You can be the lucky winner to take home one of 3 cash prizes. Just spend $12 or more on any Suppligent Tetra products at your favorite supermarket, write your name and contact at the back of your bill, and place it in the specially marked entry form box for a chance to win big. Promotion runs April 1st to May 30th, 2024. Suppligent boosts you up.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
TDC Financial Services, we're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services, we are strong. TDC Financial Services, this is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Hey, once again, good morning to our listenership and viewership out there. You SKNers in the various time zones. Let me say once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to the friends of the Federation out there also, like Rosemary, Jennifer, Dr. Leader, all the folks who logged on to the program and, give us a little impetus. Sister Henry, to you, good morning also, Mr. Valmonish. We have fun in Keon, and, it's just another beautiful day in SKN. I got a call this morning, early Jamster, from a lady from Antigua. It was around like 7:30ish, asking me if there was rain in St. Kitts. And I looked up to the heavens and said, no, man, it's all sunny and bright and, cloud formation, blah, blah, blah. We spoke for about maybe half an hour. But you're telling me, no, you asked me, I have no idea. When I get home, I get home. But I was driving up this morning, and when I got to the vicinity of Virchilds, I had to pull over and close my windows. It was coming down, etc. Now I'm hearing that there's been some serious rain on the northern side of the island. So Petra Williams, if you're listening, yeah, I guess I misspoke. We having rain, and of course it's a double slice of paradise, so rain is all part of Antigua floods. Oh, I didn't know. I'm going to ask her later on and tell her, well, we had some too, but, we're this close. It happens.
That's powers be on us.
Yeah, so I want to at this point introduce our special guest today. With us, in the studio is Mr. David Pell. And we're going to go in more to his biography a bit later on, but he was a candidate in the last election on the PM ticket in constituency number 7. And discussion we have this morning, this discussion we would have had at least a week ago, except there were holidays and other bookings. So he is here to speak on a topic that's right now in the public sphere, is rather timely, from his background in security, which I'm going to let him get to himself because I'm not that versed in it. And in other, I'll let him speak to us. He's Mr. David Pell, former present in the studio with us. Mr. Pell, the mic is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Peace to all. I'm here this morning to discuss a topic that is not only hot here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but throughout the region, the Caribbean, and to a certain extent around the world where there's no war. Because war includes these things. Firearms we're talking about. And, the world over is now talking about how to control it. And the thing about it, it's firearms were made for one purpose and one purpose only, I must say that. It was made for killing. I said that because I used to be a police officer for a number of years, and I was in the department or the section that deals with a lot of training with that. The SSU, I don't know if you remember the SSU.
Of course I do.
I also used to be an instructor at the local police training school here. I also have a number of training overseas and locally about police, you want to say DA and all these kind of things.
DEA?
Yeah, DEA, yes.
Okay.
And I'm
You're
also
big, man. You're connected, you know the
yes.
thing.
Yes, and with the various arms of British and American military and so forth.
Okay.
And participated a number of times in RSS, the trade
Exercises,
trade wind
trade winds,
exercises,
okay.
those kind of training and so forth. I'm also a martial artist for a number of years, over 40 years. I'm an instructor for over 40 years at my own school, been to Korea and everything. And therefore, the philosophy of the art is about peace. I also believe in Jesus Christ and his philosophy and his teachings about peace, quell everything with peace.
Okay.
And I'm also into politics now.
Yep.
I also have my business. And so everything's about peace, done everything peacefully. And therefore, we've realized over a number of years, our country been going away, which deals with a lot of violence, and especially gun violence. It is not unique to St. Kitts and Nevis. It's a problem all over, and in the Caribbean. But I did some research, knowing I'm going to come on this program, because we're talking about the amnesty that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis have just proposed.
The gun amnesty?
Yes, sir.
And that expires on the 25th?
Yes. Well, yes. Like I said, used to be a police officer. I've been in the laws, and therefore, contrary to popular belief, the police are not there just to arrest persons just like that. The police are there just to enforce the laws and where needs be, advise you, hey, and that is why the amnesty, and it was supported. And I will go and read something what the Commissioner of Police said back in 2023. But I just want us to understand is that the police are not your enemy, especially if you're on the good side of the law. But if you're running foul of the law, the police is not even your enemy, but the police have to enforce the laws. Okay? And any other enforcement body that have to enforce those laws. And so therefore, I want us to understand that the amnesty, from a law enforcement point of view, from someone who speaks to children about being peaceful and walk away from violence, and someone who Christ-like, who believe in Jesus Christ and who believe in peace, do things peacefully, and now in politics. I would want everyone to know the amnesty. I support the amnesty. There are certain things person might say, why? Because you're opposing, but at the same time, we have to look at it as protecting life. And anything to protect life, I will support.
What do you mean that people might think because you're opposing? Opposing what?
Well, there's some persons who believe because you in a different party or something.
On a political ticket, you ran for the other party.
Right. There's some persons who might believe that.
You're not opposing common sense.
Right. And that's what I want people to understand, that there comes a time, the world over, that politicians or political parties come together to solve a national situation. Even when you look at wars, the opposition might have certain problems of how they go about doing it, but at least they still support the protection of the nation. And I look at this, I do not want to use the word war and these things because it still sounds violent, right? But we are looking at measures how to solve or even reduce this situation, because one life lost is one life lost. Too many, especially violently with guns. Because you know what? The families and persons who witness that will have some kind of trauma. And believe it or not, sometimes, maybe not all the time, but sometimes, the persons who actually commit the crime has a problem as well. And if that person is go unchecked, it becomes harder, and he develops a mental thing sometimes. So it is in the best interest for persons who think the firearm is the answer to solve anything and everything, is to put it away, because it is not. It will only lead you a number of places, and which will be, one, are in the grave because the scriptures tell us you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And also, if you get caught, one, you go to prison. Whether it be the firearm or if you hurt someone, in fact is you go to prison because the gun, it's illegal. You have it illegally. And therefore, if you have it illegally, the gun is termed to be an illegal firearm on the street. And that is why I am supporting the amnesty, because one illegal firearm removed from the street is one life saved. And, so that's what I want to start off with that. But I must say, I did my research, and for us to understand is what an amnesty is a fixed period of time during which people are not punished for committing a particular crime. And this particular crime is possession of firearms illegally. Mm-hmm. Now, it said amnesty for firearms. So, if I'm reading it correctly, firearms. I'm going to read also from the UK, the US, and I mentioned Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, because I take it in those areas so we could understand. And even
there's a question I'm going to pose to you that a couple of callers called in addressing the amnesty question, but I'm going to let you make a presentation. And with your background, I think you're better suited to answer the question I'm going to ask you.
You could ask it now, no problem.
Ask it now? Okay.
Yes, I could always. Okay.
You just emphasize that the amnesty is for returning firearms.
Right.
And the question that many callers, and they say you will not be charged, or no questions asked, etc.
No question asked.
The question members of the public ask, what if on one of those firearms that is returned, right, without any questions asked, upon doing the forensic investigation, you found that that particular weapon was used in the carrying out of a murder. You have the evidence based on the forensic done on the firearm. You know the person who returned it. You promise no questions asked. How does the police address this?
Well, okay. Good question. And I'm going to go back to the definition. It says a fixed period of time during which people are not punished for committing a particular crime. We are speaking of a gun amnesty. I'm going to leave it there. Okay. The other one is that people who hand in illegal firearms, this is what the amnesty is talking about as well. Another definition, people who hand in illegal weapons will not be prosecuted during the amnesty. Again, people who hand in the illegal firearm would be prosecuted during the amnesty.
That's
firearms.
Technical, but go ahead.
Firearms. So then I could go right to one which is very interesting. So we could understand as well. This one is from the UK. And the UK had one in 2022 as well. 23, sorry. And it was a 2-week-long firearm amnesty launched across Greater Manchester to take deadly weapons off the streets and save lives. Remember, I started off before about saving life. And that is why I'm here today saying, yes, I support, because it's about saving life. The life that this amnesty saved could be any one of us here life.
That is correct.
A family member, and therefore I support it because it's about saving life. But this is what it said. Firearms can also always come into the wrong hands, and by giving a firearm up, you may be saving a life. Okay? And that is what we're talking about. But they went further with the Manchester one, the one in the UK, because it was not only just for Manchester, but across the United Kingdom, about persons who have firearms legally, but they might have a new one, or just decide I no longer want a firearm, and they didn't license it. Technically and legally, that firearm now becomes illegal because they didn't license it. So that amnesty is also for persons to turn in. However, what he's saying, since you purchase it, a payment arrangement could be made out.
So they have a permit to carry, but that particular weapon is not licensed?
No, you have a licensed firearm, but let's say even here, the license expired because you say, you know what, I no longer want this firearm. I have a new one, so I want to upgrade, So it's how to get rid of this one. So if you only license one, the other one, if you have it and it's at the police station, you have possession of an illegal firearm.
Yes.
And therefore you can be prosecuted. So the Greater Manchester, or the UK Police Services, decided that it's not just only for persons who have illegal firearm who got them by illegal means, but those who also have them legally, got them legally, but for whatever reason they no longer want that firearm, it's an amnesty as well to turn in that firearm without being prosecuted. It also spoke about persons who live with someone, husband or children or wife or somebody who
Within the household.
with someone, but person died or they inherited, but they do not want it. Unless you license that in your name, you have it illegally. So the law then there also give those persons the amnesty
It's
to.
in the household. You're not having it on your possession.
The fact is, it's in your house illegally.
So if for
You still
whatever
have
reason,
possession
for
of it.
whatever reason, there's a raid and that
Possession
item
of
is
illegal firearm.
discovered within the household, you living in the household are responsible for it. You can be charged for
But of course, and that is
possession.
why, right? Because
Okay, so there are 2-3 persons living in the same household. Whom do you charge?
well, they will have to determine who belongs to whose room or or who is the elder of the house. Who, as they will say, who is the homeowner? Because the homeowner is responsible for everything in his house. But if
I'm
you
the
have
homeowner.
if you have your son who is old enough and have his bedroom,
I'm the
what in his
homeowner.
bedroom is his.
But I live overseas.
Whoever lives in the house, because you no longer live in the house, but the occupants of the house are now responsible. And that is why it is important. That is why they gave this amnesty in the Greater Manchester as well. So I'm only saying that here as well, they can extend that, because I know there are persons here who have legal firearms and they want to get rid of it because they upgraded. And if
So
they have
this is a window for them.
right. Well, I'm not sure for ours, but I'm just saying for the Greater Manchester in the UK, that's what this was for.
Okay.
For here, it spoke to illegal. It didn't mention about persons who have it legally, but for whatever reason you didn't renew your license, or you have a new one and you want to get rid of the old one.
Okay.
Now you have that illegally, or how to bring it in. But what this one is saying in the UK, those categories of persons were included in the amnesty. But as long as you bought it and you want to get rid of it, the amnesty is that you will be reimbursed for the firearm. I guess they'll work out a value for it and give you. And I know we have persons. Yes. So I'm saying that our amnesty here in St. Kitts Nevis, if they haven't think about it, I'm just saying it could go like that as well, because I know there are persons who have legal firearms here who would have upgraded and want to get rid of the older one. If they do not get rid of it, it is theirs until you understand where I'm coming from. However, our law here says bring it by the police station, as long as it's by the police station, but it's still yours. So to get it, let the police buy it back from you, something like that. At least you get your monies back or something. So I'm just saying this could be considered as well for persons who have legal firearms and no longer want to have anything to do with it, for them to have this amnesty to get it off.
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
In a case where you want to buy another firearm, how does our system deal with that? Do you say, well, why do you need another firearm? I mean, because that's a follow-on question from the whole idea, because let's say you want a second firearm, or you want to upgrade.
Different
maybe.
upgrade.
It's like you might have a revolver. A revolver is one with the barrel to spin, and you say, well, I want a pistol. Right. So then you have to justify to the police and you get it. But then you still have that one until you get rid of it. And for you to get it, you have to sell it. And you have to go to all the licensing and all these kind of things. But the amnesty remove you getting a license to sell it.
Okay.
But at least you will get paid for it still. So I hope that our authorities will look into this as well and help out our legal firearm holders who want to get rid of one and save them that thing of going through all that thing that they will have to go through, and let this amnesty be for that as well, for them to get rid of. And it might have been someone who just want to get rid of a firearm totally. Well, with everything there will
market value
to see what it is. And there are some firearms that are antique. So if it's an antique, because in this one as well, it speaks about antique firearms. It's even mentioned about in the Greater Manchester one, a weapon from World War II. They were found it. There is an antique, but not because it's an antique doesn't mean it cannot work. Mm-hmm. So therefore, those persons are also were given the opportunity to turn those in. And of course, whatever antiques could cost a bit, So whatever the value is for that, they get paid for it, and at least that person no longer have to go around, oh, I have something illegally now, So I hope that our authorities could rethink and give persons that opportunity as well, because it's not just persons with illegal firearms who can find themselves running foul of the law. You can't just forget to license your firearm and you go down the road and police see you. it will have to take the police to use his or her discretion, because the police has a wide power of discretion to say, okay, you know what? Give me your firearm, because if I let you go with it, you still have it illegally. Come with me, let's go to the Navy's police station, because the law says if you go into a place, you have it legally, and a place said no firearms, but I have a license. Hello, but this is my premises, this is my function. No firearm, but police officers are who come in here.
Okay.
The law said you could give it to a police officer or to the Navy's police station.
In the interim.
You understand? And then you go back for it.
Okay.
But it's still yours. So even if you have it at the police station in storage,
it is still yours.
It is still yours. Okay. Even if you're licensed, it is still yours. But now you want to get rid of it. I think that an amnesty like this would be good for persons to redeem some of their monies that they would have invested in that firearm. So that's something for our government to think about.
Good information for the public to have. But I asked you a question a while ago, and you answered with a smile on your face. And I want to know what was all about, because I asked you about if a person turns in a weapon and it has, as we would say, it's found to be used in a crime, maybe murder. And you said you will not be prosecuted during the amnesty. Was that your answer?
Yes, according to the amnesty with the thing, it said the firearm amnesty. So
okay.
I think I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question.
So that's during the amnesty. What if day one after the amnesty expires, with the evidence presented that this particular weapon was used in the commission of a crime, say murder? What happens after the amnesty? Because you said they will not be prosecuted during the amnesty. What happens after?
But you see, we have to remember that the firearm that is turning, even though it's proved to be involved in something, I turn it in. My prints may not even be on it, because I never use it. No, what I'm saying is that the person who turned in the firearm may not be the person who actually had it in the first place. I remember, matter of fact, let me read something from Deputy Commissioner Henry. And this is what he says. Okay? So we could get an idea of what he mentioned. Deputy Commissioner, this was in July 24, 2023. Deputy Commissioner of Police, Henry, said that the Royal St. Christopher's Navy's Police Force is evaluating the practicality of a gun amnesty program as part of its efforts to address gun-related crimes in the Federation. He said that there have been discussion and plans to have a gun amnesty program. Yep. But I want persons to also know, this is not the first time we are having a gun amnesty. I don't know if you realize that. This is not the first time. But let me see if I could find the part of the thing. And it mentioned about, okay, right here. We have seen in other jurisdictions where it was done and the criminals use it to their advantage. They would bring in an old gun, get paid, and then go and buy another one. Our system, I don't think it mention about getting the illegal firearm getting paid.
There was a mention of that in the
So I guess what happens, some jurisdictions said that. But like I said, the Greater Manchester one, and the approach I would like our government to take is persons with illegal firearms get paid to bring in their legal firearm that they no longer want. I will support something like that. But if you get an illegal firearm illegally in the first place, I don't think you should get paid to bring it in. You should be happy that the police allow you to bring it in.
There's a window, okay.
Because outside the bound of that, the police will do a search, and if they find it, they will arrest you and commit the crime. Bear in mind, I'm not sure if it is now law, but it was in Parliament where the penalties increase. Now, the reason why I say I'm not sure if it is law, unless the Governor General signs off on it, which is our head of state, and it is gazetted, it is not law as well.
So maybe just be a policy.
Right. No, okay. Not a policy. Unless it's just debated.
It may just be.
It was just debated. But unless the Governor General
signs off on it
and it's gazetted, it is not laws yet.
Okay.
So I just want us to understand that.
We do have to pause for a commercial break, as is described. Are you with me, Jamsa? We're going to pause for a commercial break. We're at that time, and we'll come back because we have to have a breathe on this one. So
attention, citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. A message from your government. In the face of rising gun violence, we offer a chance for redemption. From May 10th to May 25th, 2024, turn in your illegal firearms, ammunition, and accessories at any police station or to a lawyer without fear of prosecution.
If you are in possession of an illegal firearm or ammunition, if you are harboring such items for others, if thoughts of wielding a gun cross your mind, the moment for transformation is now.
Choose a future free from violence. Your loved ones will thank you. Turn in your guns. The time for change is now.
Mr. Gunman, tell me where you get out of killing, where you get out of blood spilling, what kind of sickness you have in your heart, for you get up every day, you bust gun for your living.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
We're back with the audience, viewers and listeners, debating. We're having a discussion with Mr. David Pell, a former senior police officer, and he's lending us his expertise, his expert opinion on the recently announced gun amnesty offered by the government. It actually expires in 2 days' time on the 25th, and talking us through the various aspects and the possibilities, and appealing to the wider public at large, those who may have legal firearms who may be expired and, not renewed. It's a good chance, a good window to take advantage of this amnesty. And so questions, I raised a question about what if a firearm which is turning in the investigation proves that was used in the murder of, in a murder, and he says, well, this speaks specifically to the amnesty and the returning of the firearm, where there will be no questions asked, no prosecution within that time frame. But if perhaps there is evidence that that particular gun was used in a murder, future investigation may lead to prosecution, but that's a whole different case, as he indicated, up to the police. But that's a question, as I mentioned before, has been posed by the public at large. And we're going to open the lines, Jamster, to entertain calls from the public. If you wish to weigh in and ask Mr. Pell questions, he's here in the hot seat, and he's available to take your calls. So the lines are open to our public. Mr. David Pell is with us discussing the amnesty, the gun amnesty, which expires on the 25th. And he's here to offer his professional opinion, even personal, on the topic.
In the meantime, let me
Yes,
ask
sir.
you a question. What considerations? I think you mentioned one earlier, but I just wanted you to expand on it. Doing a gun amnesty with cash incentive versus not.
Well,
What considerations other than the one you mentioned a while
okay,
ago?
this one
make
here,
you
and
yeah.
according to Deputy Commissioner Henry, it mentioned here about. Let me read that. Okay, also this is another paragraph what he mentioned because I have them in points to pull them out, and he made this comment and like I said the year and I gave the year. A gun amnesty allows persons who are in possession of illegal firearms the opportunity to surrender their weapon to the police without fear of prosecution, and in some cases a reward is given. Now, my understanding from this and being in the police force, the reward might be the person who finds, because I think if my memory serves me right, that happened already where someone who found a weapon, it is not his or her to bring in, but he found it, or she found it. She brought it in, and therefore,
we missed that call?
okay, and therefore, I think some reward was given to that because that is not the person who owned the illegal firearm. So I think in those cases, that's what in some cases is talking about.
Okay. I think we would have missed a call, so we now take this call. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Good day, call. Your live on Voices.
Good day, Socrates. Greetings once more in Jesus' name. The only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity.
Amen to that.
Now, first of all, you know what I've been saying concerning guns and the Bible. First of all, I would like to say that based on the teachings of the Bible, that I would say again and again, that while the Bible lays out all of the functions and duties and obligations of government from God, government disarming anyone is not within those functions or duties or limitations given by God according to the word. So therefore, when government disarms anybody or said to anybody, you must have our permission in order for you to legally have any weapon.
Sir, can I ask a question?
That goes against the Bible.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes.
Okay, you remember the question that was asked of Jesus, right? Should taxes be paid? And he pulled a coin out. He asked him for a coin and he said, whose inscription are images on this coin? And he said, okay. He said, the person says Caesar. He said, well, okay, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, unto God what is God. And the scriptures also mention that the government, yes, they're supposed to govern the country under the principles of God. And that is why when you, back in the days, when you have, whether you want to call him an evil king or whatever, the entire nation would suffer. Because at the end of it all, the government are responsible for the people to govern the country, to maintain order and so forth. And therefore, just like how the scripture says man have dominion over the animals and so forth, also the leaders of the country are supposed to rule justly, fairly, and if there's anything, because remember, if certain things are going to prove to be a menace to society, the government has a duty to make sure order is maintained. And if one of the things is to reduce or prevent or eliminate firearms, that is one of the functions of the government. And remember, the scriptures mention God said, thou shalt not kill. And therefore, you're still rendering unto God what is God, unto the government, which is thou shalt not kill. And if the government are saying, okay, we're going to take some of the firearms off, the illegal ones, because most persons who have legal firearms don't really go down the road and do indiscriminate killing like that. Well, that's a function, and I think that is just to do because they're still preserving life. That's how I look at it. That's just my input in what you were saying. I just want to get over the caller.
Okay, well, you see, the thing is that the Bible is very clear as to what the duties and functions of government is. And first of all, his first duty is to give God the glory, whatever he do, to do everything unto the glory of God. including spreading the kingdom of God and winning people over to the
So
kingdom
then
of God.
if
That's
order-
the duty of government.
Jeffrey, if order is heaven's first law, so then this plays into all that philosophy.
Well, order as defined by the Bible, not as defined by me and you, but as defined by the Bible.
And
secondly, the second duty of government, as you would find clearly laid out in Scripture, is to punish those who do evil according to the Bible, and to approve of those who do good according to the Bible. And you go into the Old Testament, it lays out more in detail how to punish evil and the type of evils that are to be punished, and how to approve of those who do good as well. And there is nowhere you will find there where the Scripture instructs the government in any way, in order to maintain order or whatever, that they also have the right to disarm anybody.
But let me ask a question,
It tells
caller.
us how to punish evil.
Caller, may I ask a question? Does it anywhere in the Bible says the government have a right to have people armed?
The Bible said that is not the duty of the government.
Okay, but does okay?
The Bible
You remember
lays that out indirectly.
in the garden when Judas betrayed Christ and they came for him, and I think it was Peter. One of them pulled a sword out and cut the ear off the high priest. What did he say to him, and what did he do?
He said to Peter, put back up your sword, and those who live by the sword shall die by the sword.
Ah, okay. So what we are saying is that even though that might be the case, the government, because you know what? Back in the day before we had, let's say, organized policing and so forth, people used to do the policing themselves. And therefore, if I'm stronger than you, it doesn't matter how right you are, because I'm stronger than you and I have more might than you, then my wrong will become right. And that is why the Scripture says the persons who are in authority, the judges and the rulers, must judge justly.
Amen.
And done so justly. And therefore,
Amen.
if someone, and this is what happened in here, because remember, it is not everyone who have a firearm will want to go and kill someone. And therefore, the government have to be just. If a person is using it for just means, then that person should be rewarded. But if someone is using it for evil means, as you pointed out, punishment should come. And that's what is happening. But the governments as well must be, as the Scripture said, at the same time, you be fair. You remember the thing with Solomon and the two ladies? With the child, with the baby? Yeah. Right. He was wise enough to do something to see who is the mother and who should reward it. So, still you have to balance it out to realize that in itself was government doing its function based on the wisdom that God blessed him with to bring about a situation to solve a problem.
But the thing is that in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6, it says, do not go beyond what is written in the Bible.
But also, caller, if you go above what you read and below, you will get a better understanding what that same section is trying to indicate. Because if you just pick one, because you might just pick the body of something, but it also is the beginning and the end of something. Because remember, Scripture interprets Scripture.
Yeah, but I don't have the time to go into all of the context. I don't have the time to go into all the context. But what I'm saying is that, even when you come back to Peter, and like you said, don't go beyond what is written in the Bible, and there are also other scriptures that back up that as well, but we don't have the time to go in the context.
Yes,
but what I'm saying is that even with Peter, Jesus told Peter, put back up your sword. He didn't tell him to try it well. No, we know would have told him based upon what we believe about arms, and so we would attempt to try it. No, Jesus said, hey, put it back up.
But
don't try to, he didn't tell him to try it. But did you know, according to Roman law, at that time, the Roman Empire never allowed the non-natural born Romans to carry arms. So therefore, Peter and whoever else was carrying another arm, did you know that they were acting illegal according to Roman law at that time, and yet Jesus didn't tell them to try it well?
But did you know also back in those days, and even up to today, the persons who are legally and justified to carry arms are persons in the military and such bodies?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that what Peter was doing in his day, based upon Roman law, was illegal in carrying a weapon because the Roman law did not allow non-Romans to carry arms.
But also,
yet
and
Jesus,
that is what our law is saying as well. Unless you do
Okay.
not have a license for
Okay.
firearm, you shouldn't have the firearm.
yeah,
So,
but Jesus
if I
did
may,
not
if I
come
may,
down and
if I
Peter
may get in,
forgave
because
the law, that's what I'm trying to say.
give me a
yes,
second.
okay, I got you, caller. But I just wanted to understand is that at the same time, as you keep pointing out Roman law just now, but this is the law of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the law of St. Kitts and Nevis says only persons who have a license should have firearms.
But the Bible triumph all of them. The Bible supersedes, just like how the Bible supersedes Roman law, why Jesus did not condemn Peter. So the Bible supersedes St. Kitts law and all other laws.
Yes, I know
And
that, but
therefore, when we go against the Bible, we are actually doing wrong.
but
And
when,
we need to repent.
okay, caller, I understand the repent part because every one of us have to repent. We sin.
Amen.
Okay, we have to. But at the
Amen.
same time, the Holy Scriptures says to render unto the persons in authority what is theirs. And that is why it mentioned also, children, obey your parents. Because the parents are in authority as well. And also it speaks about persons, employees, and it uses different words, right? But it's like, if you are working for someone, you have to respect that person as well. And therefore, the government is here to govern in on all of us' behalf. And therefore, the government should be passing laws that are just and fair and for the best interest of the person. And that will be seen to be a just law. So I just want to leave it, because someone else might want to call him, but I just want to let you know that you have a point, what you're saying, but also we have to look at this point as well, is that the government is duty bound to make sure we have a safe society.
Okay. Caller, is your position is gone? Okay. Because we've had discussion before, and we have this caller? Okay, let's entertain this caller. Go there, caller, you're live on Voices.
Greetings.
Greetings, how are you, sir?
Peace to you, sir.
Well, extending the greetings to you again. All right.
Greetings, sir. Peace to you.
You started by showing situation in the UK.
Yes, sir.
In the UK, we know that the police on the street, police don't carry firearms.
Most of them, yes.
Yes, except in certain. You know?
Once upon a time, that used to be in St. Kitts and Nevis as well.
Ah, I'm glad you said that. Okay, so in the UK, they are in a more better position to ask for amnesty.
We are also in a good position to ask for an amnesty to caller.
Beg pardon?
I said we are also in a good position to ask for them amnesty.
No, you're not.
Just let me finish because we've got time.
We have said, you know, before we go on to that, what's the difference between two guns, one illegal and one legal? They are both they are both weapons of destruction. Now we have said, you know, that if we are going to ask for guns to be taken off the street is also, in the streets is also legal fire. We have said that we should wipe our slate clean and come forward clean. Remove all guns, all, legal and illegal. We are having a crisis, and guns is part of it. Remove all guns. And everyone, the whole society, will be police officers. We'll be dealing with those who still have guns. We think that is the way to go. Not the way we are doing it. It is not going to work. It is not going to work. Remove all firearms, legal and illegal. and start afresh. And if we don't do it that way, we are joking. It's not going to work. And see, we know what you said, that we were in a position at one time when police officers were carrying no guns. Let's return to that. Let us return to that. And we stand a better chance. It will be better for all of us. Whole Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Give thanks to the time.
Hey, thank you very much for your contribution. We almost at a point for, yes, again. But let me just say before we go, we have a commendation for you, Mr. Pell, former Brenda O'Neill. She thinks you're very articulate. And then I want to return to something that
Thank you very much.
First comment about Petri Williams. She's actually in line. She was the one who asked me about rain and sinks this morning. So she's having a laugh at us at the moment because we have rain in the northern part of St. Kitts. So yes, I misspoke. We have rain. So within the region, we're enjoying showers of blessing. One last call before we go to the station break. Let's take this caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
How are you?
Peace be to you. I'm good health.
Okay, I am just concerned about the importation of these firearms, the illegal entry. I'm not hearing much talk about that. We're talking about amnesty, turning in guns. What are we doing about the points of entry? I mean, I want to put the analogy to this thing because this is my style. If I own a property and a tenant continuously complains about rodents entering, my job is to make sure I put tape around the doors to prevent entry. If I don't put tapes around the doors, then they'll continuously complain about rodents entering the property. You have to nip it in the bud. So why aren't we dealing with the entry point?
Okay, ma'am, thank you for that question. When I was in the police force, well, things then and now are two different things. Because like I said, I used to be in the SSU, and the SSU comprised of the Coast Guard as well. And therefore, I could recall we used to do a number of stuff with the vessel, and we used the customs as well, used to be good at what they did. I'm not saying they used to be doing what they're doing. I can't speak much about the custom, but I know that is their function to prevent anything. But for us, when we were in the when I was in the police force, the Coast Guard vessels now and then used to do some stuff, coastal stuff. Mm-hmm. And your point is taken, and but you know what, my friend, it's belong to everyone, because I'd like to mention something, because it was said when Giuliani was mayor of New York. They said New York was very, very corrupt. And one of the comments he made, and it's true, if the police is corrupt, then society is corrupt, because most of the time it's the persons in society will approach the police with a bribe. And in law, the person who offer the bribe and the person who accept the bribe are guilty. So therefore, I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. So
Mr. Pell, I understand very, very easily, when it comes to any matter. One thing about me, I think on my feet all the time, and that's from training.
Yes, ma'am.
Lifelong training.
But I must say this to you, though, ma'am. There are certain things, because
the thing
like
about
I said,
it with life is that people, as I would say, obfuscate. They find all sorts of excuses instead of addressing matters. I watch TV a lot, and I see all the shenanigans on the TV. Mm-hmm. Even with the Trump case that's going on right now. You don't have to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. It is very easy for people to try to befuddle issues instead of addressing the crux of the matter.
Well, for me,
you see a lot of cases that go to court. It's not that the people are not guilty, It depends on how well the lawyer presents the case and what the jury will buy into. Because everybody has their biases, and I understand that. Judge, juror, everybody. My thing is, if you're not addressing the point of entry, we are not doing anything. This thing about amnesty is like water falling off a duck's back. That is just to keep some people happy, to make them believe that, hey, I'm doing something, when it's just a lot of hot air, smoke screen.
Well,
you're turning a gun, but you have the bigger gun at home.
I must say
you have another one on some big ship out there waiting for the fishing boat to go out and collect. Why aren't we addressing these things? And this has to be lifelong, This has to be an ongoing situation. The surveillance is not just for today and not tomorrow.
Can I say something, ma'am?
I mean, what is the role of the Coast Guard? Is it just to pay these people salaries every month? I keep on saying that. Government workers just collecting monies every month. Where is the hardcore work? I come from a background of hardcore work, So it's difficult for me to see people doing mediocre stuff and say that, they deserve a pat on the back. I do not believe in that.
Okay, can I say
we
something,
need
ma'am?
some serious work to be done when it comes to our coastline here. It has
Caller,
to be ongoing.
take the
If
question
the
from Mr.
surveillance
Pell,
is not
please.
taking
And,
place on a regular basis, we're not doing anything.
Okay, can I
Ms.
say
Byron,
something?
could you take a question from Mr. Pell because we have to go for break shortly. So take the question, please.
What I know is that from the press conference for the police and the defense force, I know they make mention about certain plans they have to deal with that situation. I'm not inside
Mr.
there,
Pell,
so
we've
I
been hearing
cannot.
about plans forever. Every time they have to come on the radio to address the public, it is what they want us to hear and what they want us to believe in. We've been hearing about plans forever. Plans don't take time to formulate, You sit down with your group, you say you're intelligent, and you put things together, and you implement them. I don't understand why it takes so long to get things done.
Well, all I could say is that they told us that they will do something, and we are just waiting to see what happens. Because I know when I was inside the action, but it takes everyone to be a part of, because
Mr. Pell, we continue to wait in vain, and is wanting to be out of government, and we have all the answers. And when we get into government, and when I say we are talking about the people, it's just a totally different ball game. One has to have the will and the energy to get things done.
But I could tell you something though, ma'am. It's not everything the police and the military will be able to come and tell you their strategies and so forth. Because, the same persons who are going to do that strategy to prevent.
So we are not seeing the action. That's the point I'm making. You don't have to come and tell me that, 1 + 1 make 2. But I need to see 2.
Well,
see what I mean?
Yes, I understand.
I need to see the results. Results is what we're talking about.
I
results,
I hope the commissioner.
Results, if there's no action, you will not get the results.
Okay, I hope the commissioner and the commander of the defense force and the head of the customs are listening, and they will maybe either address the public.
These are things that
we will see the evidence. We'll see the evidence sometime soon.
They need to nip this thing in the butt with the sea. I understand it's big money, and money is what's the root of all evil. They need to nip this thing in the butt if they really love this country and love the citizens. I always say that people should not be placed in positions if they're not going to serve with distinction.
Yes,
and we are not getting that right now. I don't know if we'll ever get it.
Yes, ma'am.
They need to arrest this thing from the entry, the point of entry.
What I will also like to mention to ma'am, coming from a policing background and even from a business point of view, where there's a demand, there will be a supply. And therefore, we have to work on the minds of our people here to let them know, one, we could solve a problem without violence. Because you know what, my friend? You do not need a firearm to cause serious injury or even death to someone. So the firearm is one aspect. But it's the mind. If we can work on the mind of our people and let them know, hey, we can solve our differences. Because, sometimes...
The mind of who? The man who's in the jacket and tie? You say he's bright?
No, everyone.
He's the real criminal,
No, I mean everyone.
Not the man who's pulling the trigger. Mr. Pell, let's cut this thing. The man who is in the jacket and tie engineering the importation of these things is the real criminal.
You know something,
and
my friend?
I want to tell you, have a good day.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the research I did when it comes to the gun amnesty is from the United States point of view. And one of the things they mentioned is the persons who are actually most affected by gun violence. And it is for us now. When I read it, I hope I don't ever have time to mention it now, because I know she touched it. I don't know if this might be a good time to mention it. I don't know if you have enough time to get that done.
We got about 5 minutes before the media newscast. I would have hoped to have a break before then, but all right?
Okay, let me just bring... Okay.
Touch it quickly.
Okay. What he was saying, this is in the United States, he's saying the persons who are affected mostly by gun violence are brown and black people. Now, I'm not sure if this person is correct. And this is from the U.S. Gun Amnesty, the fight to end gun violence. I will get this off this site this morning. And what he is saying is that, and it is for us now to examine ourselves to work out, what can we do as a society? Because you know what? It's our people who are losing their life. It's our young men and sometimes our young women. And we have to recognize, we have to plant the seed now, because you could plant good seed and bad seed. Huh? If you plant violence, you're going to get violence grow up. And if you plant good seed of peace, we get it. So we have to start now. And from
I called in to EK's program 2 weeks ago, and I said the very same thing, We're just going around in circles, and nobody wants to address this matter. I told EK Flanders and the general public that no black person in America owns aircrafts to, bring in these guns and drugs. And they are putting the guns and drugs in the poor neighborhoods.
But
black
you know what?
and brown people.
But you know what?
They're the ones
Like
who
I
losing
mentioned
their
before,
lives.
like I mentioned
It's the
before,
same thing going on here.
if there's
It's
a
a ripple
demand,
effect all around the world.
but what I'm
My
saying,
thing is, if you're not going to nip it in the bud at the seaport because money is involved, and those people who in jacket and tie are the real criminals, then we're not saying anything. We're just using the excuse about amnesty to try to fool people, and it's a distraction. And I do not like distractions, Mr. Pell. We have a lot of that going on here. I do not like distractions. That is why I'm so vociferous.
yes, I understand.
I'm vociferous about matters of state because I see
not
that
gonna
people have been
enjoy
taken
this.
for a ride. They're being bamboozled, they're being fooled, they're being tricked, and they're allowing themselves to be fooled too.
But you know
Where is
something?
common sense? I mean, nobody wants... Oh, my goodness. Mr. Pell, have a good day.
Okay, yes, ma'am. But I just want to touch something while you're gone. Is that what touched me is when they said the persons who are mostly affected by this in the United States are brown and black people.
We know that.
And when we look at our society, it's the same thing here, and the majority of us is here. So why are
Those
we
more than
now
risk.
affected by that? And I want to say, you plant a seed, and sometimes we adopt and adapt certain lifestyles that are not necessarily ours, and say it's a cultural thing. But you know what? I could recall when our society, if we had one murder in a year,
was a big
2
thing.
years, it was a big thing. And now it comes so common that it's like, he died. So it's like it's so much in our face that we get
Amnesty
accustomed to it.
International and our very own officials who go overseas and sign on to U.S. conventions that has failed out there. But in order for us to apply for some aid, we are asked to sign on for these conventions and policies that does not work in our small island states. And that's part of the problem. Going back to the model of discipline that we were raised with, that is not applicable today in St. Kitts and Nevis because of the convention we signed on to. When we had the capital murder penalty in place, it was Amnesty International telling that you have to change your laws, right? I don't want my friend to call back with a Bible interpretation, but it was if you were found guilty of capital murder, you face the gallows. All that's changed. So that fear that was part of our people's psychosis. I was told by somebody who lived in the USVI here in St. Kitts. He said to me, if this was in Thomas, I would shoot you. I said, we'll do it here. He was aware of the fact that in St. Thomas, you get a slap on the wrist for that. In St. Kitts, you're facing the gallows.
Yep.
So when you're talking about how we were raised and the convention that we signed on to, we have to look back at the causation because the people, that element of the society knows that capital murder, when it was not only frowned upon, if you took part in it, you know you're facing the gallows. All that changed across the region.
What?
Because we listened and acquiesced to Amnesty International and their laws of there that does not work. Look at the murder rate. Look how children treat their parents out there, even shoot them, and they get a slap on the wrist because, oh, he was beaten as a child. And so because of those laws and those perception, we no longer can discipline children. The discipline that they face now is the police on the street.
Yep.
Because the parents, the church have no influence on them. So when they come to the police and the courts now, those are the ones who meet up the discipline when it's too late.
And I would must like to say as well, when we're discussing this, there are Trinidad who had theirs. I'm just going to come out to show you cultures.
Okay, we can take a quick call. We have a minute. We actually at nose time. Okay. We may get interrupted by a call, but we want to miss your call. If you have a chance to call back, please do so.
Is not every country throughout the Caribbean would want to see.
With a call? Okay, you're live on Voices. Caller, how are you?
Yes, Socrates. Morning. I recognize the time gone. Me only just call in and morning to all of this.
Good to hear.
Good morning, sir. Peace to you.
Yeah, me just call in to tell Mr. Pell, make sure you come back after lunch.
He will be here.
Okay, so yes.
And your female, I refer to Bob.
Miss Byron, she
Okay,
probably
then.
will call back. Happy to hear from you.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
I've also invited, I'm going to extend once again an invitation for Mr. Byron to come to the studios. There are lots of folks who would like to hear what she has to say, and she'll have like 2.5 hours to, engage with the public. So, Ms. Byron, given a chance you want to be on Voices, let us know. We're happy to have you here.
Okay, sir.
Mr.
What I would like to say as well is that it's not every country in the Caribbean who thinks highly of an amnesty because they want to make sure persons are punished. But you know what? It's just to say, if we get the guns off the street, then we might be able to now talk. And sometimes maybe what they're looking at is the success of the program. Because even with the Greater Manchester situation and with the US,
report from there.
These have millions of people. And they were only allowed to get about 200 firearms off the street. In 2019, when St. Kitts and Nevis did theirs,
they got 40.
They got 40 or something about.
It's 40 plus.
To me, that's a success.
Mhm.
And you know what? Some persons might look at success as differently, but for me, to get one firearm off the street, that's success, because that's one firearm less to cause death.
There was a joke from Anguilla. Somebody called me, told me they also had a similar amnesty program, and they got one firearm on the street, but it was an old rusty gun.
It doesn't matter because, you know, as long as it could fire,
yeah.
And you know what? As long as you get one, the impact will have touched the mind, and that person, the next time, it could get two.
Mhm.
It just depends on how often they might want to get this done. But you know, there comes a time when the law will have to be enforced. So I'm calling on everyone who have illegal firearms to accept what the government would have done, to give you that opportunity to turn in your firearm. And I'm also want to encourage you to not just turn in your firearm, but to change your mind. Because if we want change, it starts from the renewing of our minds. And let us talk about peace. Let us solve, even if there's some areas you have a dispute with somebody, okay, you get some boxing gloves and you go and swing it out. When you're done, you say, oh, you're lucky, and you move on. If you want
that was back in the day. But here's my question to you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the government's approach has been proactive or reactive in the face of what we had a few years ago and how things were able to escalate to the current state? Has there been proactive or reactive in the face of what's happening in your estimation?
Well, I could look at it. It seems as if it was more of a reactive, because it took certain things to happen
to trigger a reaction.
Right.
Mhm.
And but you know, in governance, certain things, if you're not thinking of a plan in the direction, okay, if you meet something and you work out, you know what, this is bad, so I gotta do this. But if you wait until something has happened, then you're reacting to it, as opposed to, okay, I know this is happening before you reach, and I see it, and this is the plan I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Okay, because you see the signs and you start to plan for it. So for me, it took a lot before something like this.
We have had reports of persons after the government had changed who had gone to GH and more or less threatened the Prime Minister, and then if you don't continue the peace program, you're going to have bodies in the street, etc. You may have heard about that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Okay, it did happen. Back to the phone lines. With the caller, you're live on Voices.
Greetings forwardly.
Greetings.
Okay. You can't be talking about peace and love, you know, and allowing some to have guns and killing another set of people. Yours is illegal. Give it up. I'm talking about peace and love. Remove all the guns. Peace and love. Then we fall for everybody whoop, you know. Peace and love. If we're saying peace and love, let me show it in action. You can't got some got guns and some not got guns. That is not peace and love. A mark we a mark. Look into it. Blessed love.
Blessed love.
Well, caller, I agree with you to get all the guns off the streets, legal or illegal. But you know what? Then they might move to sticks, and then you might say get all the sticks off the street. Because remember, back in the day, the police only had a baton, and the reason why the police actually in St. Kitts and Nevis started to get armed is because of.
We're taking this call. Go to call your live on Voices.
Yes, Socrates, it's me again.
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't hang up here. I got cut off.
Inadvertently, sorry about that.
Got cut off. So, but I would like to ask the gentleman. Not too long ago, we had a local person who sang a gangster song called Taliban. His name is Byron Messiah. And the song became very popular, but it was a song that encouraged violence, gangsterism, badmanism, you know, we bad from the time we born, you know, and you give him lip, she kill you and shoot you and them sort of stuff. This is what the song was about. Gangster, bad man song, encouraging murder and that sort of stuff. But it became very popular. The DJs then played it a lot. It became popular all over the world. And the government here, they honored him for the song. They gave him the keys to the city. They put up his picture in the airport area for this gangster, bad man, violence, encouraging violence song. Now, as far as I know, studies have shown that entertainment can influence you for bad and for good. And gangsterism and that sort of stuff, entertainment that encourages such, influence people for bad. The Bible says the power of death is in the tongue. In other words, words are very important and can influence a lot.
The power of life and death.
Right, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So what I would like to ask the gentleman is, what do you think of the government honoring this guy for this gangster bad man song? And by the way, he went and came with a second gangster bad man song called
Taliban?
Called Collision.
Okay.
So what does the gentleman there think of the government giving this guy such a high honor, such high honors actually, for this gangster bad man song? And what do you think of the DJs and so who are playing these gangster songs and that sort of stuff and bigging them up and that sort of stuff? Do you see a connection between violence and these things?
Here's what. Because we want to give him a chance to answer the question, okay? So everyone can listen.
I'm giving him.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I'm listening off here.
Right.
Thank you.
First one, I don't really listen. I don't listen to songs like that. And as you mentioned, they could influence children. And because I deal with children.
We at that time now, news time? Okay, for our viewers and listeners, we do have to pause to present the Win FM's midday newscast. We apologize for the late start of it, but stay tuned, and we'll be right back with the second half of today's presentation of voices after the news report.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Caribbean.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the Win FM headline news, I am Yulana Weeks.
Ellison Tommy Thompson, CEO of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, has been actively promoting the Federation as a go-to summer destination for travelers. Thompson is currently in Kingston, Jamaica, attending the 42nd Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Authority's marketplace.
And in St. Kitts, we're getting ready to kick off our summer of fun. And with the scheduled events that we have, we begin with the St. Kitts Music Festival, which is the 22nd to the 30th of June. That's followed by the Nevis Mango Festival, the 5th to the 7th of July. And Nevis claim that they've got 44 different varieties of mangoes. We then have the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week, 11th to the 21st of July. Then the 50th anniversary of the Nevis Culturama, which is the 25th of July to the 6th of August. And then we end the summer with the Caribbean Premier League T20 Cricket, and that's the 21st of August to the 8th of September. So the St. Kitts Music Festival is really 3 nights of concerts, but we have lots of fringe events around it. And it's really exercise in endurance, so have to come ready. So we have a really great lineup. On the Saturday night, we've got Mary J. Blige. We've also got Rick Ross, Ancholine, Small Axe Band, some of the local bands, some Caribbean bands. But also, we've got some of the oldie goldies, like Third World. So in terms of the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week, each year we pick a local product, and this year it's the papaya. So during this festival week, we're going to have a cook, sip, and glamp. On the 7th of July, the Nevis Tasting Show on the 13th of July. St. Kitts is the day after. And one of the new activities we put in was the St. Kitts Grill Fest. We did it last year for the first time, and we were astounded by the turnout. So this year, we've actually increased the number of participants. But also, last year we did chicken, fish, and pork. This year we've also added lobster to it as well.
This event brings together stakeholders from around the world and local, regional, and international media. The Federation has seen a slight uptick in stay-over tourism so far this year.
So when we look at statistics, April year to date, we've had 13,328 stopover passengers, and that's 15.9% above 2023, which was at 11,501. And now we're only 6.3% below 2019, which was at 14,219. One of the bright spots is the UK. As of March 1st, 2024 versus 2023, we're up 17% year to date, and we are up 8% above 2019. So one of the goals where we benchmark is 2019, and we're glad that we're hitting that very well.
Regarding cruise arrivals, similar to many other territories in the region, St. Kitts and Nevis is considering tapping into the Latin and South American markets.
Latin America will definitely be in the medium to the long term, and that is a factor of us trying to ensure that we are filling the flights that we have coming in now. We've got a lot of new airlift coming in, especially from the Northeast, so that's a concentration initially, and as we move forward, then we'll look at the Latin American market. And also the connectivity from Latin America to St. Kitts has to be better. And we're in discussion within the Caribbean because they're looking to do additional flights out of Latin America. And so how do we then tap into that? So it's definitely in the plan, but it's not in the immediate plan.
Thompson also addressed concerns about the RLB airport, which has seen a point of concern due to its size.
The SCESPR, which is the arm that deals with the seaports and airports, they are now in the process of engaging a consultant to look at a second terminal and expanding the terminal at RLB Airport in St. Kitts. So that's under active consideration. So the consultant has just been engaged, so it's going to be another 2-3 years before it's actually come to fruition.
The second annual CHTA Marketplace wraps up on Thursday in Kingston, Jamaica.
Since the inception of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party in 1932, Constituency number 6 has never faltered, never ever flirted, said the Senior Minister and Parliamentary Representative for Constituency number 6, Dr. Denzil Llewellyn Douglas. In his view, his constituency is simply the best.
I don't think that we understand what the refrain, simply the best, better than all the rest, really means. People think I'm speaking of myself when I say that. No. I speak of constituency number 6. Because this constituency, from the inception of the party back in 1932, has never ever faltered. Apart from producing our most famous leader to date, the Right Excellent Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, it has also produced another leader in yours truly, Denzil Douglas. Number 6 must never be taken for granted.
In his address at the 92nd conference of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Douglas also admonished the people to work together and build together. He said no constituency and no comrade must be left behind.
As I speak and bring greetings on behalf of number 6, I remind us that we are in this together. I remind us of the theme of today's conference. We must live together. We must work together. We must prosper together. Together, I emphasize. None of us must be left behind. No constituency must be left behind. No comrade must be left behind.
Dr. Douglas added that from the mood of the conference, he believes that whenever the Prime Minister and the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terence True, make a call for action, the people would be ready to defend and support the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party.
And with the mood that I am detecting here, I want to ask you, are you ready? You ready? People are ready for action. And so whenever I believe the comrade leader and our famous Prime Minister would give that call, people are ready to defend, support, and work with Labour.
Regionally,
with 2 detailed reports to work with alleging several cases of abuse, and the population baying for justice, in 2022, then Acting Police Commissioner MacDonald Jacob appointed a task force to look into those allegations. Well, it's 2 years later, and we've learned that task force no longer exists. Why? Well, simply put, we were told that people just stopped coming forward to bring evidence. According to then head of the task force, Claire Guy Allen, people backed out after initially showing intent on making a statement. Now, Guy Allen did say some people are before the courts to answer to charges of abuse, but she could not provide an exact number. Guy Allen added that they tried to make it easy for people to come forward. There was a hotline, no need to come to a police station, but still there seemed to be reluctance. Now, the Judith Jones 2021 report contained several recommendations, chief among them the establishment of a children's commissioner. Former state investigator Marcus Kisoon, who worked on the Jones report, again underscored its importance.
What we have is a poor ability to manage and to have a dedicated body of integrity to hold state and homes accountable.
Referencing a recent incident at a children's home in Couva, Kisun lamented that it took a whistleblower and not a system of monitoring to identify the abuse.
Any home that needs to have a whistleblower, any system that needs to have a whistleblower, is not designed and dedicated to respond to children's needs, including their safety, including behavioral problems.
So will this country ever get a children's commissioner? Well, it's under consideration. But Minister Ayanna Webster Roy said they're reviewing the operations of the Children's Authority to ascertain if the Children's Commissioner is needed. Asked if the minister is satisfied with the state of childcare since the Judith Jones report, the minister said while there is work to be done, she is satisfied that children are right now safer in state care. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
The highly anticipated advisory opinion was delivered by the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, ITLOS, effectively the World Court for the Ocean. The judges found that the 169 state parties to the Convention on the Law of the Sea have an obligation to prevent, reduce, and control marine pollution from harmful emissions. Prime Minister the Honorable Gaston Brown co-founded the grouping of states which brought the case to ITLOS and opened oral arguments before the court last year. He tells ABS News while he was confident developed states were violating their obligations to small island developing states, the advisory opinion was necessary to inform further action.
We thought that it was important for us to take this matter to the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea to get a legal opinion to determine whether or not these states parties, if they are literally violating their legal obligations. And we had no doubt at the time because we would have read the UNCLOS treaty and recognized that there's clear violation because carbon dioxide in itself is a waste product, very harmful one, very harmful to the planet. And we were always of the view that we'll get a positive opinion.
The advisory opinion is likely to influence courts' interpretation of the country's duties in pending and future cases. Prime Minister Brown notes that it may also help accelerate climate negotiations and climate action.
This is a great opportunity now for us to have this opinion that will inform further action. It will help to increase our negotiating power as we sit with these large polluters. I think this decision obviously will help us in the future as we seek to ensure that the loss and damage fund is capitalized and to ensure that wherever there's damage, that these large polluters provide compensation. I think it's a great precedent. We're certainly very happy with the opinion.
While legal action against large polluters may likely result in a favorable outcome for SIDS, the Prime Minister says that persuading them to take voluntary action is the preferred route.
I will say here that we would not necessarily use this opinion to go to court immediately. We still would want to explore voluntary actions by these large polluters. The most significant action is for them to commit further, at least to increase their ambition to reduce emissions, because that is the ultimate solution, and to facilitate, let's say, faster transition into green energy applications and to move away from the use of fossil fuels.
Andrina Athel de Souza, ABS News.
Internationally,
Chadian opposition leader Suksay Masra said on Wednesday that he has tendered his resignation as Prime Minister. That's after interim President Mahamat Idris Deby was confirmed as winner of a disputed May 6th election. Masra had claimed victory in that vote before preliminary results were announced and alleged that electoral fraud was being planned. But last week, Chad's Constitutional Council dismissed challenges from Masra and another candidate and confirmed Deby as the winner, saying he had secured 61% of the vote. Masra has acknowledged the council's ruling and said there were no legal means to contest the result. He had previously gone into exile after dozens of his supporters were killed in clashes with Deby's security forces. But he returned at Deby's invitation last year and was appointed Prime Minister of Chad's transitional government in January. On Wednesday, Mazra announced his resignation and that of the transitional government on social media, saying they had become irrelevant following the presidential election. The vote marks the first attempt at a return to constitutional rule among a group of West and Central African countries to have witnessed coups in recent years. Deby seized power after his long-ruling father was killed by rebels in 2021. The election victory prolongs the rule of the Deby family, that has had a firm grip on power since Daby's father took over, also via a coup, in the early 1990s.
Ireland, Norway, and Spain have all announced they will take the formal steps to recognize a Palestinian state. All are set to be enacted next Tuesday. And the Irish Prime Minister, Simon Harris, says he expects more countries to follow suit.
Today, Ireland, Norway, and Spain are announcing that we recognize the state of Palestine. In the lead up to today's announcement, I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks.
Harris also says his government recognizes Israel's right to exist securely and in peace with its neighbors. He added the recognition of statehood has particular resonance in Ireland, given its history. In a separate speech, the Norwegian Prime Minister, Jonas Gahr Støre, said there cannot be lasting peace in the Middle East without a two-state solution. So let's begin our coverage with Julia Chapman out of our London bureau. And Julia, tell us more about the announcement and what led the governments to make these moves at this time. Also, the reaction we're hearing to the announcements this morning.
A coordinated step from these three European countries, all of whose leaders stress the importance of a two-state solution, which has been sidelined over the course of the latest war in Gaza. And they said it was that conflict that has prompted this move. The Norwegian Prime Minister, in his statement, said that the conflict underlined the need to resolve the Palestinians in the region. The Spanish Prime Minister said that the world can't allow the two-state solution to be destroyed by force. And the Irish Prime Minister, making his statement in Dublin this morning, said that peace will be built on the recognition of both states. So we have seen that this is a largely symbolic measure, but it does have some practical implications, for example, at UN bodies. And it has been met with a very strong response from Israel, condemning this outright, recalling its ambassadors from these three countries and summoning those from those countries to come for a reprimanding meeting, as it's being described, where they are expected to be made to watch videos of female Israeli soldiers being kidnapped on October 7th. And in a statement from the Israeli Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, he said that this is a distorted step which questions Israel's right to self-defense and undermines a chance for lasting peace.
I'm wondering, too, Julia, about what is happening in Gaza today. The United Nations says it suspended distribution of food aid in Rafah. The border with Egypt remains closed. So what is the latest there and the impact on the civilians who continue to shelter in the region?
A stark assessment of the humanitarian situation in Gaza, particularly in Rafah, where two United Nations agencies say they have had to suspend food distribution. UNRWA and the World Food Programme say that they have not got access now to a distribution centre as well as a warehouse in the area because of the instability going on as Israel steps up its assault in the southern Gaza city. Although Israel insists it hasn't blocked the movement of aid, the situation has become very difficult in southern Gaza, and there isn't enough aid getting through a floating pier that got up and running last week. The World Food Programme warning that those supplies got disrupted over the weekend. They haven't fully resumed, and so they are warning that there is a very difficult situation. A spokesperson for the World Food Programme said that humanitarian operations in Gaza are nearing collapse.
Julia Chapman, thank you very much.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name. A smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Good afternoon once again to our viewers and listeners. We are locked and loaded for the second half of today's presentation of Voices. We still have with us in the studios Mr. David Pell, and one of the callers inquired if you'd be here for the second half, and we're happy to let him know that you're still here. First, though, we have to give kudos to our sponsors downtown. We'll do that and then come back and have, we'll continue our discussions with you, Mr. Pell. So we'll be right back.
Horseman's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running May 16 to May 29th.
Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Lay's chips, $8.99. Kraft mayonnaise, $24.99. Palmolive dish liquid, $11.99. IGA and essential everyday salad dressings, $10.99. Peter Pan peanut butter, $12.99. Totino pizza rolls, $10.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Essential everyday lasagna, $6.99. Pillsbury cake mix, $6.99. Old Orchard 100% apple juice, $9.99. DM toothpaste, $4.99. Irish Spring bar soap, $11.99. Extra liquid laundry detergent, $12.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Okay, we're back. I need to get my notepad in play because there's so many things I want to address today. Hey, Jamster, before you leave, remind me before the program ends to send you a new track, new release for Culturama. by Lady, Empress Lyrics, the one who sang about the fat pork and thing like that. Got a new track. I want to give it up before you. So please let me not leave you without that. And I have an announcement for my guests who will be here next Wednesday. It will be Lady Carla Astafan, and she'll be speaking about, let me read here. The St. Kitts and Nevis National Reparations Committee presents African Liberation Day lecture. And the topic is emancipation, recolonization, and liberation, consolidating the reparations movement. And the featured speaker would be Dr. June Sommer, chairperson of the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. And lectures will be held, I'm not seeing where, okay. It's Wednesday, the 29th day, or 24, 6 p.m., Eastern Caribbean Standard Time, but I'm trying to figure where. I guess it will be aired live. Then there is, at the Kuna Conference Room. That's going to be on Wednesday, 29th. And the time is set for 6:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time at the Kuna Conference Room, Fort Land, St. Kitts. And Thursday, 30th, May 24th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time. It will be at the Jessup Community Center in Vaughan, Nevis. All right? I'll speak to this again before the day's over, but next Wednesday, the guest in the house would be Lady Carla Astafan, and she'll be addressing most of what Dr. June will be speaking about. So, Mr. Perry, we're back with you, and we're talking about the amnesty, the gun amnesty, the period, and your views from a professional point of view. And there are two things I want to speak about. One, Jamster, the incident in the Turks and Caicos, where 5 Americans were found to be having ammunition in their possession. They were arrested. Based on the Constitution, they would be facing up to 12 months in prison if convicted. Not that it is automatic, but that's the maximum penalty. The American lawmakers, a few went down there, and they challenged that, and they are more or less demanding their release. And one of the threats is that they would institute travel advisories against the Turks and Caicos. As one congressman put it, we can affect the tourist dollar. I find it out of order, because you need to respect the laws of the land. The question is, should that happen here in St. Kitts? We're talking about gun amnesty for, the period ends, say, tomorrow. We ask you to bring in your guns, ammunition, etc., etc. So let's say next week's Wednesday now, we find an American tourist with ammunition on his person. The amnesty period is passed, right? The court will look at the circumstances of the case and determine if there is to be punishment or not. The American position, as demonstrated in Turks and Caicos, is that you should release them or face travel advisory, which would affect your tourism dollar, as they put it. Right? Mr. Pell.
Sir, good afternoon once again to everyone.
It brings us back to this point. And you're speaking about saving lives. The whole purpose of the amnesty is to get guns off the street. We debated whether it's proactive or reactive government position. The fact is something has been done. In the case, if you're presented with a case where one of our tourists, and let's deal with America because this deals with America has been arrested in the Turks and Caicos, 5 of them found with ammunition in their luggage, and they were arrested. Okay? The U.S. government is demanding their release, threatening travel advisory if they're prosecuted. Right? I think the laws of the land must be allowed to address the issues. I also want to remind our listeners and viewers that the CCJ, our very own Caribbean Court of Justice, is not recognized by the U.S. government. So what if adjudications are passed against Americans by our CCJ? What happens? I know you're not a lawyer, right? But things we have to entertain in terms of our sovereignty. No, they don't recognize the CCJ. They do not. They will not entertain any judgment passed by the court in any matter that affects the American. They will not. So we have to look at that as a sovereign nation, as a region, as CARICOM, etc., but the CCJ is not recognized by the U.S. government. If I'm wrong, let somebody call me and tell me that I am wrong. Mr. Pell?
I've not heard of that case, but what I could say, no, the case...
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that even with our legislation, it speaks to about either imprisonment or fine.
Mm-hmm.
So based on the circumstance, I guess the adjudication, let me put it so that everyone could understand. I guess the court will determine whether a fine or custody, which is a custodial sentence, will be appropriate at that time. I'm not sure if they have both sentence or fined.
Fine and confinement.
Right. So based on the facts of the case, then at least the court would make a decision based on that. But if it was the other way around, who knows what will happen. But I know for St. Kitts and Nevis, so far, our laws are being respected worldwide. And you come here as an individual and you commit an offense, like I said, you either fined or confined, and therefore the court or the DPP, because the DPP is the one who will determine about these cases, these matters. And the court now will determine, based on the conviction, whether or not it will be fined or confinement.
Okay. In the case of 50 cents, jump stock, what was the situation? Our law says for profanity, the F word, etc., you can be
fined or confined.
You're not automatically arrested. The police officer asks your name, and I do this on my toes every day. Let them know. We're taking a left turn into Carron Street. You're going to find the police station. You're going to find the prison. Try to avoid them. You can be arrested for the use of indecent language. So while you use... We will see. But I let you know about... It's about respecting the laws of the land.
There are other things that comes into play, when I was a police officer, I used to like to let persons know their right, Refusing to give your name to a police officer when lawful and required
of his duties.
Right.
It's arrestable.
Right, it's a arrestable offense, and failing to give your name and address, or if the police believe you give an incorrect name and address, and what, okay.
We have a caller? Caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes, Socrates, it's me again. Good afternoon to everyone.
Yeah, make it short, make it sweet. Go ahead.
Yes, I brought up a matter just before, and the gentleman didn't really get to address it properly, so I'd like him to address the matter of what does he think about, the government honoring a guy who sang a gangster badman song encouraging murder, shooting, and badmanism and that sort of stuff, by giving him the keys to the city and putting up his picture to the at the airport region for all to see that how they're honoring him for his Badman Gangster song that made him so popular.
Okay.
And also about the DJs as well, promoting these gangster songs, playing them, promoting them, and that sort of stuff. And lastly, I would like to say, I would challenge anybody to a debate who want to debate what the Bible says about government and its God-given duties and limitations.
Okay.
But I would like the gentleman to answer to deal with the issue, because I know entertainment is very important for bad or for good.
It's a big influencer. He did answer, but I'm giving him a chance again to address it.
Totally.
Okay. So, sir?
Okay, sir. What I would say, for someone, I do teach young persons about violence, not to get involved and support. So for me personally, in that light, I wouldn't support something like that, because as long as you speak about violence, that's for me. I wouldn't do that, because I don't really like violence. I don't like violence, and I try to let persons know. Try not to be violent.
He's trying to get to address the fact that the government gave him the keys to the city. Not that the song itself is negative, but the fact that the government, in view of their position against gun crime, etc., they actually endorsed the song, and the person by giving him the keys of the city. That's what they want you to address.
Well, I would have...
Yes.
Okay. When is call?
Let's take a call from the UK, you says. Hello? Caller, you're there. Good day. You're live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon. I was just listening.
Good afternoon.
Well, I was just listening to the debate on the Turks and Caicos. I read the article earlier in the week.
Let's hear
My opinion on that is that the United States shouldn't be meddling in what's happening in that territory, because we saw over the last couple of years the violence break out big time in the Turks and Caicos Islands, right?
Correct.
And they couldn't get it under control. I think Britain had to send down some resources, military. They had to send police. They had to send in, I think, one of the Navy ships that were patrolling the Caribbean. And they finally start to get it back under control. And then, you find some Americans doing this kind of stuff. And then you look at neighboring Haiti and what's happening there. And I saw another CNN report just recently, I think I sent it to Jamstead last week, on how CNN analyzed the type of weapons that they're witnessing on the streets of Haiti and where they're coming from. They trace them back to the United States. So the United States is exporting violence and means of violence and murder, and yet they want to then use their diplomatic resources and other resources to sanction people if they do what they're supposed to do, which is to use their laws to protect their people. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And there should be, I mean, the British is a British overseas territory, right? So it's
Correct.
Britain is responsible for their external affairs, right? And we saw what happened in the BVI with the former, was it Chief Minister?
Yep.
Former Premier? Yeah. And he's now sitting in an American jail. So how is it America can do what they want in other people's backyard, cause havoc, cause things like what you're seeing in Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, St. Kitts, and then try and worm their way out of it and send threats talking about they're going to mess up their tourism livelihood?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It can be right. That's why they brought it up, because we're talking about amnesty in St. Kitts, and if you're found outside of the amnesty period, the penalties you face. So I wanted to draw a reference. What if a tourist is found, like in Turks and Caicos, with arms or ammunition? How do we address that when the Americans, who are quick to issue travel advisory about countries with gun issues, when you compare to this, is the height of hypocrisy? But we can't touch that because we depend on their goodwill. So that's where I want to put Mr. Pell in the hot seat. So I'm glad that you called to further elucidate the situation in Haiti and how, in the Turks and Caicos, and how it's playing out on the world stage.
Well, what I will say, like I mentioned before with that one, most legislation is either fine or confinement. So it is up for now the
law of the land, the court.
The court, yeah. Well, you know what? Before it reaches to court, is the DPP must first.
But still, the process must play out, must be allowed to play out. But they say no, you should release them.
But you see,
because they are Americans.
But you see, to be fair, they could set up, but the country doesn't necessarily have to release them. They just set up in the money to bear the consequences.
The pressure play, because they depend primarily on tourism, and that was a threat that the congressman made.
However, I think it's the government to now, the foreign affairs, to touch base with them and let them know.
You're going to the diplomatic thing?
That's what's the best thing to do, is that you use your diplomatic arm to let them know, hey, this is our laws. And like I mentioned before, suppose one of our citizens come to your country and give the same argument. What would have happened to our citizens?
Caller, are you still there?
So I think that's only fair.
Yes, I'm still here.
I want to thank you for registering your umbrage at this whole fast. I'm very happy that you called because you're not on the ground. You're calling from the UK. So it speaks to people around the world who are actually offended by this behavior. It's like we're small, we have no say in the game. Right? The country is trying to protect its laws. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'll say I'll go a bit further, and I will, because I read the article, and what the United States is saying is that 12 years, I think the young woman who came in, she's 45 years old, from Miami, from Florida, and they're proposing 12 years for all 5 of these people. That's the minimum sentencing requirement. And the United States has the gall to say that that's too much when they have people, black people, for instance, in prisons in the United States for longer than that for a bit of weed. a bit of marijuana. How marijuana don't get up and kill people or shoot people? These people are importing ammunition. You saw what happened in the Congo over the weekend? With the attempted coup? There was an attempted coup in Congo over the weekend, and Americans were behind it. 3 Americans were arrested. It's alleged that one of them or several of them are CIA agents. This is what the United States is doing. I'll go further. And Joe Biden just this week and Richie Sunak here are talking about the ICC don't have jurisdiction to issue an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu. Who is out of order. Huh?
Yes, I have it on my phone to address also. The same thing.
Right. So the United States is behaving in a way that tells me that they're not actually the good guys that they purport to be. They're actually the bad guys.
You thought they were good guys?
Because look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. And all for what? All the problems that we're seeing over there. Almost 40,000 people killed in Palestine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me we can't issue an arrest warrant? Slobodan Milosevic is in prison for what he did in Bosnia in the 90s for less than that, for killing less people than that. So how are we, following any kind of moral code issued by the United States? How is that actually happening? From Haiti to all the islands in the Caribbean to the entire global South. They're exporting arms. The arms are harming people. They're damaging economies. And tourism is our bread and butter. And if you look at Turks and Caicos, they don't have any other industry apart from tourism.
Well, the congressman
so they have to protect it.
Clearly that we can affect the tourism dollar. He said so clearly. It wasn't an implicit threat, it was direct threat. We can affect your tourism dollar if you don't release these guys. And that was the message. And they're actually now, they're hoping that President Biden weighs in on it.
Well,
it's the election year. Understand?
Well, just like how the Turks and Caicos is still a territory of the UK, why not the UK take up that case for the Turks and Caicos? But like I said, the Foreign Affairs Office, is a matter where diplomacy comes in. And even though the person could be sitting in prison, whatever it might be sitting, you still have your diplomacy going on and get this sorted out for them to understand, hey, this is our laws.
But they're waiting for that. They're asking
but at the
for
same
the immediate
time,
release.
No, but they could ask for it.
Trial.
Right.
No, they could ask for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will be released. You just carry out the diplomatic channels and get things sorted out because they have to understand at the end of it all is that your law and my law, we have to really govern ourselves accordingly.
Let's say it's your call. So
I think diplomatic.
But for far too long, far too long, we see the United States, whenever their people are arrested or in trouble around the world, they use their strong arm and get them back and get them out. Look at Julian Assange, sitting here in Britain in prison. He spent so many years in the Ecuadorian embassy, hiding from the United States and extradition. They still have him locked up since they took him out the embassy. The United States wants to have him over there.
He's facing life imprisonment in the U.S.
They're going through great lengths for these things, and we can't go through any lengths to protect our own places and our own territory. That's unacceptable.
Okay, Carl, we do have this call on the other line, but we really, really appreciate your input and you sharing your point of view on the program. Okay, we're taking this call. If the person still there.
Thank you.
Could they call you live on Voices?
And we are not showing no solidarity. When we should be showing solidarity with each other. We don't manufacture guns, We don't. But here we are prepared to send our citizens to prison for 40 years. Eh? We do not manufacture guns. And what Turks and Caicos is doing? What they are doing? What they are doing wrong? That's their law. And where's the solidarity from other parts of the Caribbean? Where's the solidarity? We're just like a pack of weaklings. Yeah. That's what's going on around here. We're just playing games. Ready to send our citizens to prison for 40 years. We make guns? Do we make guns here in St. Kitts and Nevis? Do we make guns? Please answer me.
Well, I'm going to answer, caller. What I mentioned before is that whether you take it from a criminal point of view or an economic point of view, where there is a demand, you will have a supply. And if we could change the minds of our people from wanting guns, then there would be no need for guns to come here. And that is the problem. So persons in business will understand, and law enforcement persons will know, and even persons who are into the illegal trade, they will know as well that if I have someone who wants what I have, a group of people want what I have, I will always be able to supply it.
Look, we have to deal with the problem from the root.
And that is why I'm saying we have to touch the minds of our people. If we let our people know and understand carefully, there's no need to have a gun. I don't think guns will be coming here because there's no need for it to come here.
If we're going to do that, we have to adjust all, not some. Not some, not get in the minds of some. Get in the minds of Moon, Sam, and Bagay.
But of course.
But we want to get in the minds of some.
But sir, I want to address a question you asked. Yes, it'll be good to get rid of all the guns. Like I was going to mention is that before the police in St. Kitts and Nevis started to walk with guns, the criminals first started to bring in guns, and the police, to protect themselves and the community better, had to bring in guns. So you realize what happened? Because of that, the police had to bring guns.
My answer to that is
yes, sir.
All of us turn police.
All what?
All of us turn police officers.
Well, like I said, but can I tell you something, sir?
Inclusivity, bringing citizens.
But can I tell you something, sir?
Citizens in police, pardon?
Can I tell you something? Presently, the law is you can assist the police, and that is why there's something called, back in the day, police used to say, I summons you in the crown to assist me with this person, to help, because it's everybody's duty to help. But there's some persons who may not want to. I don't want to be an informer. I don't want to be this. And that is where we are today, because nobody wants to say who are doing what. Nobody wants to assist, and therefore we have a problem. Because remember, let me finish, caller. Because remember, before we have an organized police structure, that's what it used to be. People used to police themselves, and then it couldn't work because, like I mentioned before, I think when I was trying to address you, is that the person who is strong-armed, just like we were discussing about with the U.S. and Turks and Caicos, if somebody offends somebody and somebody believes, okay, that person is right and somebody is wrong, and just because of the person is strong or whatever, they might go against the wrong person, and the person who is right get some kind of injustice. And that is why we have organized policing structured under the laws of the land and with the judiciary and everything to make sure fairness and justice is meted out. Because there are some persons who could be faithfully wrong, because if let's say, I'm going to bring you something scriptural here. You remember Saul before he came Paul? He was genuine in persecuting Christians until he met and realized what he was doing is wrong. And what I'm saying, that's what was happening as well. Some persons were genuinely doing things, think they are doing something right, but they were doing something wrong. And that is why the laws now.
Letting everyone be armed.
It will be chaos.
It's what's happening in the U.S.
Understand?
They're now discussing arming teachers. They can't find solution to the situation where people get on campus and start shooting up. So they're now legislating or considering arming the teachers, which makes no sense at all.
But Carla,
so my good friend, what you're suggesting that everybody else have arms makes no sense at all. I'm going to cut to the point. It makes no sense at all.
That's why we said disarm everyone. And it reached to that where people, when they're talking about don't want to be no informed, it reached to that because the state are responsible for that with its being partial in its flexing, being partial, showing partiality in its flexing. And that partiality comes right up to the time.
Yeah, but
the state have to be impartial.
Well, that's what the justice system.
And we are not seeing that.
That's what the justice system is designed for, to be impartial and to be balanced. But there's, and that's what it is, and that is why I would assume why the amnesty is there to give persons a fair chance. Turn over your firearm, just like what you're requesting for. There's no firearm, And just like what I mentioned in the Greater Manchester area, that it was not just for persons who have illegal firearm, but persons who would have it from a legal standpoint, but it might now, they want to get rid of it, and it could turn into an illegal situation to get rid of it. And so, and I just want to remind you as well, back then,
legal and illegal. Remove all firearms. You know what happened on the Patialis Pasha after the Labor Day jamming?
No, I don't know.
Policemen chuck excesses on a youth who don't get in no trouble at all. Just because somebody push him and he bounce on the police. The police got gun on the hip, and they just chuck him. There's excesses on the youth. Till the mother had to run, go back to the police station.
Sir?
So don't get in no trouble at all. And they did that because they had the gun on the hip.
No, sir, look at it. Coming from a policing point of view, the police has a right to protect his or her firearm at all costs. Because if that person take the firearm from the police could become a victim of the firearm. I'm not saying, listen, sir, I'm not saying I do not know the case or the circumstances, but I'm saying coming from a policing background. If the police lose his firearm, no, because remember, no, what I'm saying, I do not know the circumstances. But if somebody bump into
you can ask his mother what kind of youth is that, and I know the youth.
Yes, sir, but just no, but can I just explain something to you? As a police officer standing and somebody bump into you with your firearm, especially on this side with the firearm, there's no time to think to know who it is. You're turning around to protect that firearm that you do not lose it and it's used against you. Because if it's used against you, that means there's another firearm gone on the street unanswered.
And continue chucking the excesses?
Well, sir, I do not know the circumstances. I could only speak.
That is not the case.
But
continue chucking excesses on the youth.
But how can the police know unless they inquire and know exactly why did you bump into me? Because remember, you don't know. You're just standing there and somebody bump into you, especially on this side where the firearm is. So I just want us to understand. To just let us understand.
We better know what we are doing around here.
Yes, sir. I understand, but I do not want the listening public to believe, because I do not know the circumstances, but coming from a policing background, the police is duty bound to protect it, because if he loses that firearm, it's a problem.
Remove the disarmed police also. That's what we are saying.
I agree with you, sir, but also in removing. Can I answer you with something, sir?
Are you guys hearing each other? Because you're talking, it seems he's talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I answer you with something, sir? Do you remember in the United States when they were talking about disarm the police, and you realize what happened? Because if you disarm the police and do not disarm the criminals who have illegal fire, you have a problem.
That is the United States. They manufacture them. They forbid the brunt of everything concerning the consequences of them. We don't manufacture around here.
I know that.
So don't make that comparison. I don't want to hear nothing about the United States.
No, sir. I have to bring the comparison, because you're saying disarm everyone. It is right to do. But remember, like I said before, a stick can be used as a weapon. Then the police will have to get a stick then, and then what we will say? Get rid of all the sticks?
We're talking about guns here.
Yes, I know. I'm just using an example. I'm using an example. Because there are some persons who have the opinion that the persons out there who have illegal firearms have more powerful weapons than the police. I'm not sure how true that is. So you realize what situation we're in. And if that's the case, so let us talk to everyone to get rid of the firearm then, and not just the police. Because I know when it comes to police, it's a ticklish thing, because some persons see the police as this thing, but remember, the police are there to protect us, to protect lives and property. And we should draw the distinction between an armed police officer and an armed person who commit crime. We should have the difference. Because the police...
We will deal with the armed persons who want to commit crime. Let all of us deal with it. All of us will deal with it.
Point taken. Thank you very much for your call, Elder. Well, I can't call you because we're the same age, right? But with respect. All right? Continue having this call? Okay, continue. There was some stats you wanted to read about Jamaica and Trinidad in terms of not wanting to implement the gun amnesty.
Yes.
You want to deal with that? So let's hold the calls for a while, sir. Let me make this presentation, okay? Goodbye. Make a presentation about that.
In 2022, the same topic about gun amnesty came up in Trinidad and Tobago. and they were deciding that they were not going to have one because they don't think it's suitable for Trinidad and Tobago at that time. And they were trying to, the person who presented it decided that they will take the situation of Jamaica, which is to use law enforcement and the tactics and the strategies to remove the firearms off the streets. In that way, persons would have been prosecuted and so forth, and who knows, they might even have gun battles, because compared to other countries in the region, St. Nevis is very peaceful. And I would like us to be that way. And that is why I'm at this time encouraging everyone before the amnesty is finished, as much persons as possible. Let us say if the last time we had 30 or 40 firearms off the street, let us see if we could get 400 firearms off the street this time, if we have that much at all. So I'm encouraging you. But in that same year, Jamaica implemented a firearms amnesty. So even though Trinidad didn't want it, Jamaica in 2022, 5th of November actually started an amnesty to remove guns off the street. The National Security Minister then, which was Dr. Horace Chung, implored persons to take advantage of the gun amnesty. And just like there, and remember, these countries have a higher murder rate than us.
Much higher.
And even when Trinidad and Tobago was saying that they're not going to take the amnesty, they had like 440-something persons already murdered. Okay? And who knows? I checked, because I did the research, I checked to see if they would have an amnesty. I couldn't come across one to find out if they had an amnesty. But I know Jamaica had one, the same year that Trinidad said that they're not going to have, they're going to follow Jamaican one. And the Jamaican National Security Minister encouraged as much persons to turn their guns in. St. Vincent and the Grenadines now started a gun amnesty as well. So everyone is realizing that the gun amnesty, it's also like a forgiveness for having the gun. And also remember, I want us here in St. Nevis to recognize that the penalty for having a firearm now gone up to a number of years.
Okay.
Some persons might have a problem with the number of years for possession of firearm compared to, let's say, murder.
What was it before?
Compared to murder, right? I do not have that information, but I want to, even in the UK, the one that I keep mentioning about the UK, their penalty for having a firearm as well is, I think it's the same 40 years.
Okay.
So you see, they are emphasizing the firearm. And even in the UK, a lot of their things, not really with firearm, but the firearm is still a problem. In the United States, because it is, if you want to say, a right for everyone to bear arms, it's a bigger problem. And even with the United States, I have the research here, that they are asking for a federal approach to having gun amnesties and even adjust the laws to not make it, let's say, a right for everyone to bear arms, because they know the dangers of arms. So, in this end, the steps that are taken throughout the region, in particular right here in our country, our beloved country, St. Nevis, are very important and giving us a chance to save lives and to also give persons who are involved in that to change, to turn over a new leaf. Because the life you save might be your very own. Having a firearm doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed. It's just giving you a 50% chance, because if someone else have another one, it's a 50-50 chance. But what we're saying, one life lost is one too many.
One too many. Okay. We need to pause right now to give thanks to our sponsors, and then we continue with more presentation of the gun amnesty. All right?
Found the sound, 98.9. Win FM.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Attention, citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. A message from your government. In the face of rising gun violence, we offer a chance for redemption. From May 10th to May 25th, 2024, turn in your illegal firearms, ammunition, and accessories at any police station or to a lawyer without fear of prosecution.
If you are in possession of an illegal firearm or ammunition, if you are harboring such items for others, if thoughts of wielding a gun cross your mind, the moment for transformation is now.
Choose a future free from violence. Your loved ones will thank you. Turn in your guns. The time for change is now.
Mr. Gunman, tell me where you get out of killing, where you get out of blood spilling, what kind of sickness you have in your heart, for you get up every day, you bust gun for your living. Don't even know where to
In case you wonder what I'm after, we get a little issue with some technology, but we're still good to go. You're still logged on to Voices, and we have with us, of course, still Mr. David Pell, a former police officer, and is speaking about, mainly expressing his views on the gun amnesty, encouraging folks to take advantage of the time period. It expires on the 25th of this month. We have had callers who are in support. We've had callers who question the approach of it. And I think all right-thinking persons would support this venture by the government, whether it's proactive or reactive. It's something that's affecting us in terms of the negative it brings to our young people. And I do have to applaud Mr. Pell, who also is a mentor for young people, to come to the airways and try to share more of this information with the public at large. He brought some stats, which he was reading too. We got about, we got some time yet before we come to the closing features, but we're going to open the phone lines once again to entertain calls who may want to weigh in on this topic. We just missed a call? Okay, Mr. Slowfingers, that's okay. If you get a call, a chance caller, please give us a call once again. Hey, Bag of Sugar, how are you doing? I know you're way up in the U.S., but if you get a chance, get us a heads up. Your home country was mentioned in the whole amnesty process. And we now have a call online. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Socrates, good afternoon.
Oh, yes. We wait for your call. Good afternoon, sir. Once again.
Yeah, I won't be too long, because, up to now, Johnson give me the WhatsApp call. So
Johnson, you must give the WhatsApp call so you can call him. He's called for a month, so it's going to cost him more. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, Socrates.
Yes, sir.
Just before me come to Mr. Pell, they want to send our
OS?
OSO to two female callers. One, me call her my positive call. I've been here she for a long time.
Sister Henry?
No. Me just say cousin Henry. No,
okay.
My positive caller. She know.
All right.
And one USA representing Connecticut, representing Connery. My sister.
Okay.
Been here she for a long time.
Hope she's listening.
Okay. Yeah, hope she's listening. And we have to shout up Sister Shari, Sharon Richard, not the office.
Okay.
Sacred, Mr. Pell.
Yes, sir.
Well, me hear the Prime Minister just now, calling for bringing the guns with the amnesty. But then, who people not take what me go say negative, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You see, even the Prime Minister personally not got one, he got a bodyguard. I'm sure he bodyguard and gun funny. But please, people, this not negative, nothing here. So I not take this here. Do not take this here and twist them out of context. All right? Okay.
Wow.
Watch me now.
Yes, sir.
One gun, they for protect something. People not just got on gun idly. It's there for protect something. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you're scared with your life, you feel more comfortable with that guy. You say, well, this is your big brother, your bodyguard.
Legally, fire, I mean.
Yeah, you don't firearm here, right? Whether it be legal or illegal, you got them as one big brother or to protect something. Whether you got on your property and you just believe somebody grudge you your property, you catch me? You got them to protect something. Now, how we know that drugs are one big thing, and how we know that are the protector of the drugs. How we know that? You catch me? So for just to say, bring in if I'm in. Come on, man. that they, it not gonna work. So guess what? Let me do it one other way. Let me start to go to the community, find out what are the problems then that we got. You catch me? Let me deal with the problems then. And if we can start to eliminate the problems on them, I will now go at the gun problem because me in a defense force. And different to that, me run guns. Because me used to feel, me go on a Jugs house on St. Thomas. Every member got one piece and so forth and so. So me know guns. But guess what? Me know people we got gun dead, gone dead in grave, and then gun hide. Because they got them gun just in case that anything should come up, then go out and run to him. But guess what? Nothing come up. You get that? So it could be the gun could be an ornament too. So in me, I want problem that bring the gun into action. You get the point that I make? So let me see how much
one of it is availability.
Deal with the problem them. And right. And then now, I'm sure you wouldn't get all amount of gun problem. Okay, that's my little piece.
Okay.
Very much appreciated, Mr. Pell.
Thank you very much, sir. And, some points, but I want to bring something out. From Amnesty International USA, they believe that everyone should live free from fear of gun violence and is supporting common sense gun legislation efforts in the United States. I want to support that for our country. This is where I live. This is where I'm from. And I want every citizen, every national, everyone who is in St. Kitts and Nevis want to be living free of fear of gun violence. And that should be our main motive. And that is why I'm here today, to encourage persons, not just those who have the guns illegally, but also the family members, the loved ones, the friends, everyone. Talk to these persons. Tell them, hey, I'm living in fear because, you know what? When these things happen, someone who even in the mountain when this happening on the bay is afraid that something going to happen to them.
Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Go there, caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes, Socrates, it's me again. Now, there is a book called More Guns, Less Crime, written by John Lott Jr. Anybody can order it from off Amazon. And he wrote other books, other very good books too. But I just mentioned that one for starters.
Okay.
And he shows in it through lots of research and studies and that sort of stuff, that generally speaking, countries and places that are more lax and letting the people own guns have, generally speaking, a low crime rate, including gun crime rate.
Can I ask a question?
Countries that are stricter with gun laws and that sort of stuff, generally speaking, have higher crime rate, including gun crime. And it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
It does make a lot of sense. You see, when a person is in confrontation with a criminal, when second counts, the police are at best most of the time minutes away. When second counts, when you're in confrontation with a criminal. And not only that, criminals, there has been surveys taken among criminals, where people survey criminals, and they've asked them, does knowing a gun in a house deter you? And the general answer was yes. And where they know, I have a good idea that there is no gun, they are more encouraged to go into those houses.
I get the point you're trying to make, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
But it's biblical, and that's the wisdom of the Bible coming true in so many ways. But we reject the Bible to our own suffering, pain, destruction, undoing, and so on. We reject and ignore the Bible.
Okay, Gregory.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to bring out something, and this is from the United States, the same international.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 40,000 people lost their lives due to gun violence every year. This is the United States, huh? And an additional estimated 133,000 people are shot and survive, requiring both immediate and long-term medical care.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said 45,000 people. That's almost the population of St. Kitts and Nevis.
That's correct.
Okay? Now, this is what this is my own words now. If we compare our population, one can gather that gun violence in St. Kitts and Nevis is very high, and we have to reduce it.
I think the majority of our people, both at home and abroad, would be in agreement with that.
Okay? But I prefer to say, let us eliminate from our beloved countries this gun culture. It is not, if we go way back, you should old enough to know, gun is not part of our culture.
No.
Okay? It is not a part of our culture. And therefore, that is why I am in support of this and encouraging persons. I cannot repeat myself more, because I want as much firearm as possible off the streets. Use the opportunity and do it. Now, this is what it says again down here. What is the solution? This is from Amnesty International.
Yes, go ahead.
The solution to reduce gun violence requires a comprehensive strategies that address multiple factors, including access to firearms. And this is where one of our calling about the borders, and this is where our police officers, our customs, our coast guards and so forth will come into play.
Okay. Let's see what this caller have to contribute. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Greetings, powerfully. This is not about supporting and not supporting the army. It's about being successful in what we are doing. Right? Are we aware that guns can be given in and be replaced? That is illegal guns.
Yes.
Are we of that people can turn in guns and replace guns?
That's one of the concern of according to Deputy Commissioner Henry, and that is what was said throughout the region as well, that persons use the amnesty to do such. So yes, it's a.
Yes. Therefore, we need to go to the root, like my brethren just from Mount Shot just called and said. We need to go to the root. What are encouraging people or moving people? What is moving people to have guns and use guns? Look, we are dealing with mentalities, and we are not touching it. We are just going around it and not touching it. Mentalities, the way people's mental faculty are functioning. That leads to things like using guns.
Okay, caller, just give me 1 second. And remember, we're talking about solution. Just let me tell you what Amnesty International said, and you'll get a point. And because I would have mentioned it many times during the program. The solution to reducing gun violence require comprehensive strategies that address multiple factors, including access to firearms. Get rid of them. Mental health services, that means you have a mental thing to it. Intervention in schools and neighborhoods. Start young. Get into it. And adequate enforcement of existing laws. This is what Amnesty International said. And for me, I said I would recommend these solutions for SKN, as well as they are good solution to help reduce gun violence right here in our country. And like I said, I mentioned before, like I tell you, yes, I would support getting rid of all the guns. But getting rid of all the guns also means renewing our mind the way we think. Because as Gregory, this is where Gregory will come in handy now. Because the Bible speaks of this. Evil. You have good and bad. And if you have the gun in a good person hand, the gun in a good hand, but if you have it in an evil person and the gun in evil. The Bible speaks of these things, and it speaks about the heart of man. And that is why it speaks about persons in authority have to really put things in place to protect life at all costs. And therefore, I agree with you what you're saying to get rid of them. And agree with you about the mental being of people. And that is where you, me, Socrates, Jamson, everyone in society have to touch our young person and touch persons who are going to say, hey, brother, put that gun down, turn it in.
There's also
Let us solve our problem peacefully.
Of documented observation that in the UK, where there are no guns, there's been a high rate of murder and stabbings. They use knives. So it comes to a mindset.
Yep.
So where there is no gun, there are no guns. There's a scarcity of guns in the UK. Among that youth population, you hear about a lot of killing, a lot of stabbing. It's like a culture.
And that is what I was trying to tell my caller here earlier, is that you could get rid of
Back
the
to
gun,
sticks.
but they will come to sticks.
Sticks and stones. So it comes to a mindset.
Understand? So it's the mindset. That's what we have to change. We have to change the mind.
So therefore, it's not really the guns. Because as I said before, they can be replaced. And as I said, that we have a mental problem. It's something like the nastiness. People just don't even think about it. They're just nasty. And you mentioned two things inside here with in terms of solution. Dealing with the young, getting to the minds of the young, right? Something else you mentioned. Those are the way to go. We are not going there. We are not resolution. I keep talking about the whole heap of polite violence what we have in our midst here in the Federation. Polite violence, which is not bloody yet, you know. But they are there and we are not doing nothing about it.
And I don't want it to be bloody.
To bloodletting and bloody violence, we want to do something about it. We need to curb, we need to find a way of curbing until we can get rid of altogether polite violences. The Federation is full of polite violence. Polite violence. And we are not touching it.
Okay, sir.
Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
With respect.
I also want to bring out this point.
We got about 3 minutes, so...
Okay. I also want to bring out this point. And this is basically the end of my thing. That
okay, we got 3 short minutes. So
what he's saying here, and this is from the talking points, it is time for change, and this is talking on the perspective of the United States. I bring this out because to show, even though they have the freedom, so to speak, or the right to arms, they want to get this sorted out. It is time for a change. The crisis of gun violence in the United States and the failure of the U.S. government to take effective action has resulted in the death of thousands and injuries to even more. The U.S. has an obligation under international law to ensure the rights and individual safety of people living in the country. Now, for me, this is also what I want for our country, as well as we have to work together to solve this gun violence. Just as how, and this is what I was trying to get to Greg with, the government has a right to protect its people, to make them safe, and to do whatever it can. And this is where I'm calling on all stakeholders. And I'm also requesting of the government, touch base with the different political parties. They and the commerce, other business groups and so forth.
Stakeholders.
They will have ideas.
Okay. Let's take this last call. We've got about 2 minutes to caller, please. I respect the time. You're live on Voices.
Socrates, I'm going to quickly say this. What you just said about England, where they ban guns, but yet you have a high crime rate, including murder, just demonstrates once more again, the wisdom of the Bible in not giving governments the authority to disarm people. It just shows the wisdom of the Bible, but somehow we cannot get over the idea that, as Albert Einstein said, madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, but yet you're still getting the same result.
Okay, Gregory.
We just can't get over that. But last, I'd like to say, we're in the United States, the places with the highest gun crime rate and crime rate on the whole are the places, states in America that have the highest and strictest gun laws, like Washington, D.C., California, New York, and those out there. Those are really the high crime rates.
Gotcha, Gregory. I really appreciate your call, and we still have to respect the time, okay? So we got about 1 minute to wrap up. So, Mr. Pell, quickly wrap up, because we almost out of time.
Okay, so I just want to encourage all persons, government, get the persons at the table. Political party doesn't matter.
Yeah.
business communities, and come up with solutions. Police officers, law enforcement. I am not going to mention certain things. I was a police officer. I don't know what it is to make sure strategies are there to make the police better. But also to sit down as well. Call in who you think you could help to get strategies sorted out for the police, and let's get it done. It's a community effort. It's a nation effort to get this gun violence done, because you know what? We are only hurting ourselves. And I just want to remind persons, according to what the stats in the US, they said the brown and black communities are mostly affected.
Okay.
Let us look at ourselves and realize it is not there, but it's our brothers and sisters, cousins who are mostly affected by this thing. And thank you very much for having me. God bless us. God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. Peace to us. And I just want to say one thing before I go. I'm so thankful that over there in Constituency 7, let it be an example and a beam. No much violence and other areas. So don't let's say it could go over there. I would want it to, the goodness over there and the peace transfer to the rest of the country. There are other peaceful areas as well. But let us let the peace travel throughout the country and bring peace. Okay?
We want to thank you for the role you're playing, not only for being here and trying to advise citizenship, but you yourself, you're a mentor, you're assisting young persons with the mindset it's an anti-crime approach to their development. We want to appreciate that. And given a chance, we would love to have you back once again, because the message, even after the amnesty ends, need to be continued. Okay, let me just touch on this matter for my guest next Wednesday. Lady Carla Astafan will be in, and the topic will be the St. Kitts and Nevis National Reparation Committee presents African Liberation Day Lecture. Topic: Emancipation, Recolonization and Liberation, Consolidation and Reparation Movement. Featured speaker, Dr. June Sommer. Lectures will be on Wednesday, 29th May at the Kuna Conference Hall building. Yeah, Kuna Conference Room. That's on Wednesday, the 29th. Then on the 30th, they were going to cross to Jessup Community Center, and there you'll have a similar presentation. So stay tuned. I will be in on Friday, God's willing. Monday and Wednesday I'll be in. Once again, God bless to each and every one. Enjoy the rest of a beautiful Wednesday in our double slice of paradise, or wherever you find yourself around the world today.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running May 16 to May 29th.
Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Lay's chips, $8.99. Kraft mayonnaise, $24.99.